What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets-Haber. We're going to be talking through this little NBA three-game slate. And last night was not my best of nights. I actually did I did do really well in the showdown. I had a
did you?
lineup in the showdown. Yeah, nothing special. You know, both defenses and Harris as the captain wasn't anything like crazy. But it was, it was just a rough night for me basketball wise. I did get 3 of my 4 main bets in basketball right, and 2 of the 3 props, so that was good. Keep doing really well with those bets. Just need to probably start putting a little more on those. But overall, not a great night for me, and ready to move forward to this one. Sheets, how about you? And then what do you think of this slate?
Yeah, I'm really glad that I didn't notice like all the wind and hurricane stuff, because I probably would have bet the over.
You see what Belichick did here? They ran the ball 34 times in a row.
He's the best.
And even before halftime, like they're at the 50-yard line, like 47-yard line with like 45 seconds left. You just get to, usually just try to get in the field goal range. Nope, handed it off. Nope, handed it off. Just wasn't going to do it. Nope. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
All right, so you want to
yeah, let's jump into it. Let's pull up your screen and we'll go game by game.
Yeah.
Thank God look, there's probably going to be weird injury news we do hear about today, but it can't overwhelm us because there's just not enough games for it to. Like, we don't have this situation where everything changes at once. And that McCollum news ended up being a big late breaking thing, and it's just frustrating. All right, but let's talk about it. Why don't you start us off with what you sort of have projected for this one?
Yeah, so Luka and Harden, good game. Yeah. I like both of them actually. Whether we can actually make it work, not sure. Probably can. Mm-hmm. But I like Harden more than Durant today, and I do like Luka as a kind of as one of the top spends. So 3-game slate, you're just going to need the raw points, I imagine. Mm-hmm. So I like those guys more than the Laker guys, and I'm sure everybody else will too. But that's where I am for now.
Yeah, so on the Brooklyn side, for me, I think LaMarcus Aldridge is actually he's going to be popular, but he's probably my favorite player, which is really weird to say. And we have to remember, guys, we used to always look for ceilings on a small slate. You don't necessarily need every bit of it, and also, honestly, lately we've been, not just we, like the community as a whole, probably been playing too much for the ceilings rather than some of these raw points. Because if you look at the totals this year, you don't need to score 7 million to win. Yeah. I think Patty Mills is in play as a long shot tournament play. It's a small slate, so you got to try and find some ways to get different. Probably not my favorite play, just a guy I thought I'd mention. I don't love the price on Bembry. Otherwise, I would say we could consider going there. But my other long shot guy would be Cameron Thomas from this. But I think I actually have it a little different. I think I have Durant just slightly ahead of Harden, but I certainly can't argue with either. I don't think it's a huge gap. And I like Luka. I think that Luka is probably more where I'd want to go, except Porzingis is reasonably priced again. He certainly has, can get 40 plus. So I think Porzingis, Luka, with one of those on the other side is probably going to be a pretty common build. And what I would say is that keep an eye out to find out what happens with Tim Hardaway Jr. If he's out, that'll open up some more stuff. I also think Maxi Kleber is in play for tonight's slate, and because it's a small one, if you're playing long shot tournaments, I think you should be considering playing. It's unlikely this is not even the kind of matchup you would normally get on the court in, but they've given him a tiny bit of run here and there lately, and just because it's a tiny slate, I might throw a Boban into a long shot lineup or so. But mostly it's going to be, I think on Dallas, I actually have it really close between Luka and Porzingis. And then on the other side, I have Harden a little bit ahead of Durant, with Aldridge being my favorite. Want to start us off with the Knicks and Spurs? Yeah,
I actually have a little bit of value coming from this game. What's his name? Mitchell Robinson is 4,100. He's pretty good. On the other side, Lonnie Walker at 3,400. Now, none of these are particularly great. Okay, I'll just tell you, they're projecting even this early at only 5.5 points per dollar, which in the NBA at that price is not really that great. You usually see guys at like 6.5 or 7 if they're really, really good values. But just the best of given alternatives here. So Lonnie Walker, Mitchell Robinson looks okay. Then also Podol on San Antonio. And then the guards on the Knicks, Rose and Quickly look good as well. So that's where I'm at as far as value goes. I don't know if I'm gonna get up to Randall, but maybe I should. I don't know. But DeJounte Murray is actually for spend ups. He's showing right now to be my best overall value. Like he would be like a priority for me before Harden or Luka, if you want to know the truth. So I like Murray, I guess the best. I don't think I need to play Lonnie Walker now that I think about it. And then those Nick guards remain somewhat cheap.
Yeah. Interesting about the Murray thing. I think that he is really, I mean, I can't tell if it's just a visual, he's 9,500 only compared to the other guys, but I do think that, I mean, if you look at his production, it's usually pretty close to in line with most of those other guys. I'm not loving this matchup for him entirely, but I mean, he hasn't scored less than 47 fantasy points since the middle of November. And by the way, that was just for one game. He has 60 the two previous games. So I agree. You know, it's a little slower pace since you like him sort of in the frantic games usually, but he's at this price, I would say he's a priority also ahead of those other guys. And I actually like the idea of running it back with Randall. Maybe skipping the ultimate spend ups on this slate is not the worst way to go and get a little different with your build. Because I do think that most everybody's going to play one of Luka, Harden, Durant, even LeBron. I just think those guys are going to get played a lot. I think Derrick Rose is going to be the guy who, when I expect the game to be fairly close, that I'm always going to have interest in, and I feel pretty safe about it. He's probably my favorite of the Knick backcourt. Right next to him, I have Alec Burks. So one of Burks or Rose, you could play both of them, but that's how I would sort of slide it. I like the Mitch Rob thing. I'm not crazy that he's going to be really popular, but I really do like the play. I think he's a good one. But I sort of like that Randall Murray idea, sort of the back and forth there, and then also all the Knick guards we could just sort of lump them into a group. But I would rate it Burks, Rose, Quickly, Barrett, and I have no problem if someone wants to say Barrett ahead because he may get his minutes back if he's playing well right away. I don't know that he will. And then your long shot play would be the low owned one, because he's sort of the odd man out, would be Fournier.
Okay.
He put up 28 in the last game and played 35 minutes even with Peyton back. I'm sorry, with RJ Barrett back. So I think Fournier is like your tournament play from that group, because all the other guys are going to have like somewhere between 15 and 35% ownership. I also think in these spots are where I like to try to play guys like Keldon Johnson and Derek White, just because they tend to get overlooked on this slate. This game feels like the in a funny way like the most stackable to me. I don't think these are all like amazing smash plays, but like you play Walker, Murray and Keldon Johnson or something on one side, and then Randall and one or two of the backcourt guys, and that you've got a team almost built. I think that makes a lot of sense. There's a problem is that a lot of these Spurs are really popping off the page as being awesome plays, and it's hard to rank them. But if I had to, I'd say, I would have Murray as number one, but I do think Podol at this price is a guy we should be looking at. It is a back-to-back, so keep an eye out for what the Spurs might do. But Podol he's just pretty much always a lock for 30. He's going to be really popular, but I think he'd be my next favorite of these guys, with Lonnie Walker coming in after that. And depending on what happens with Vassell, I don't know if I want Walker if Vassell plays, especially if he's going to get ownership, because it just doesn't make enough sense to me. But trying to mix in a Keldon Johnson and Derek White, it's just the problem is they're all going to be pretty popular, so it's hard to get off the board. And your best off the board bet in that game is probably going to be a guy like Fournier, which I don't love, but just a way to get off the board. All right, Boston and LA, what do you got?
Yeah, so this cost me a full 10 minutes out of my life, and so,
I know what you're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm first thing I look around and I'm like, okay, I just ran my numbers. Then I'm like, then I had to do a project for Evan, so I had to just download just any random thing. So I went to Roto Grinders and I downloaded. I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on here? And I'm like, and I see like Enos Freedom. I'm like, oh, okay. So Enos Freedom changed. Enos Cantor changed his name. First, I thought it was like a rookie that I never heard of, and everybody was trolling me, like another guy I don't know, right? And then I'm like, oh, it's got to be Enes Kanter, change the Enes Freedom. Then I'm looking at my projections. I don't have him at all anywhere. So I'm like, okay, is it because I missed I didn't change the name or whatever? And then honestly, there's like literally half of the sites don't have him projected for a minute, and half of them projected for, enough minutes where he's going to be chalk. So the good thing is it's gonna work itself out over the course of the day, as far as what's going to happen with that. But hey, I'm rooting for the freedom narrative. I love that guy. It's certainly something that we have to work out if he's going to actually have minutes. I don't know why he would. I don't see Williams or Horford out. So I don't know what the deal was with that. Maybe you could walk me through that. But then brings up a question I kind of held off from the DeJounte Murray conversation is, who's better at the same price, DeJounte Murray or Jason Tatum, against what's become a pretty favorable matchup against the Lakers? I guess the answer is you could play them both, right? But I think Tatum's got to be a good play today. And as far as the Lakers go, I mean, yeah, you can always play LeBron or AD. I leave it to you to tell me if it's a good AD or LeBron spot. But what do you think of freedom? What do you think of this game?
Yeah, so I'm a little worried that his projection has to do with a couple of things lining up for him perfectly. So they were on a back-to-back his last game, and it was back in Portland. And people could say whatever they want, but when you have a guy you've gone up against in practice, a team you played for,
hold on a sec. What day of the week was that? Saturday? 12. No wonder. I mean, if you and I neglected to find that Enes Kanter was coming back to freaking Portland
on a back-to-back where they don't want to play the bigs like Horford back-to-back. That's why
we would have been on that. What is our problem? We would have gotten this by me. I didn't even notice.
We would have gotten it, I think. But yeah, that was the Saturday, and I didn't play Saturday, but I would have definitely been touting up some Kanter if I was. I do think this is very suspect. Like,
it's gotta be, right?
About him even getting minutes. I would consider it. Look, if he's going to have ownership, I will have no interest. If he's not going to have little to no interest, unless I hear some coach speak or something, like, I don't see why, Robert Williams, I know he's trying to, like with Kanter, they're going to play both of them at different times. It just doesn't seem like the matchup they're going to try to run things through. I don't
know, man. I don't like it.
But he has stolen a few minutes from Williams. I don't know. I just think it's a little suspect. My favorite play in this side and on both sides is going to be Schroeder. There's a guy who is absolutely furious. Mostly he should be furious at himself. And if you look, he's not only is he going off lately. Why don't he's going up against the Lakers? You think he's not going to be willing to shoot the ball 20 times tonight with no Jaylen Brown?
Right.
I'm playing Schroeder. Like, I don't know if I'll have a lineup without him.
Really?
And as of right now, that's my current thought. Yeah, and his price seems a little high, but I don't have no problem with it. I hope some people get off of him. Jason Tatum, I think is a better play than Randall. But I think that would be my first goal, is to try to play Randall, Murray.
No, I meant Tatum or Murray.
I know Murray, but I want to play Murray, Tatum, and Randall together.
Oh, I tried that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little thin at the moment, but things might open up to where we could be able to do it. And the problem is, I like Tatum a lot, but I do have Schroeder as my priority play on Boston tonight. I really think there's a chance Schroeder could have a big game here, and also, like, not just because it's against his former team, like, they really don't cover anyone. The rim protection is not as good as it has been in past years, although still not terrible. So I think all of those guys are interesting, but I mean, Marcus Smart might get a little bit overlooked here. Al Horford might get a little bit overlooked, but I'm not as interested in those guys. I want Tatum and Schroeder as my main guys here. And if it's me and you tell me I have to play one of the Laker guys, it would be tempting to play Davis because of the ownership. I'm just having a hard time with this guy, man. Like, he's passive. He's statistically the worst shooter from basically every range in basketball.
You walked me through those stats last time we talked.
Yeah, it's pretty awful stuff. And he's still, the thing that's he's been doing though, he stopped taking those, which is makes him a more effective player, but a worse fantasy player. We still want him shooting. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you've got the Q tag with Carmelo tonight, so. Right. I don't know. Long shot plays for me would be Dalen Horton-Tucker. Obviously not as good with LeBron on the court and everybody there, but if there's no Carmelo, that's one thing that could be interesting. Dwight Howard is the guy I would lean towards over Cantor. At least we know we're going to get 20-ish minutes from him, which can often be like 35 fantasy points, you know, for the way he plays, or he could foul out of the game in 10 minutes. I mean, we've seen both from him, but he is, you know, taking over the start and center role, and that's basically going to be it. Like he's I don't know, that's where I would lead. So I actually have Howard, you know, as one of the value guys I want to play tonight, and I think he's actually reasonable value against a team that can play fairly big with them, and they're not, you know, they are doing the right thing now with the Lakers, where they're not trying to force him. He's not going to play probably down the stretch of the game, although he did in Sacramento against Sacramento a couple of games ago. But my favorite, it would be LeBron and LeBron, then AD. LeBron's going to be higher owned, so I'm kind of tempted not to do it. But I do think it's viable. I just think if you're rating all the top guys, LeBron is right there with them, but I think he's a notch below. So I would have him a little bit behind the other guys, even against the Celtics, even in an important game and all this. And I'm not going to make this play, I don't think, but I am going to say, like, it might not be the worst idea to play Westbrook when no one is going to play him. I know the numbers are down. By the way, you know, it's crazy. Look at it. Just for Westbrook, especially, his efficiency has actually been better than probably people realize. He's got a good assist ratio with LeBron on the court. He actually hasn't been turning the ball over as much, but he's also just not doing as much. His usage has just gone way down for the most part, although he did have the high usage game against Sacramento. It's just a long shot play to a small slate that no one's going to play. And it wouldn't, he could always go out there and have just one of those crazy games, and he could do it in different ways. He could have a triple double, you know, whatever. It's just, I'm just considering it because he's going to be like 1% owned, and that's the only reason I consider it. But LeBron is the best play. The Malik Monk thing is something I could take or leave. If I really needed value, I would consider it. I don't know if it's not more the right thing to do. He's very shooting reliant, but he's a really good shooter. And with LeBron on the court, he gets really open looks. So, I mean, he put up 35 and 33 his last two games, but he shot, you know, 10 of 18 from 3-point range over those two games. And that's a lot of even attempts for him. So I would rather look for other value, but I think Howard, maybe LeBron on the Lakers side, unless there's anybody out, those would be the most viable. I do really like Tatum and Schroeder on the other side. But
knowing of course you can play them both, who do you like more between Mitch Rob and Dwight Howard?
See, I think that the first thing would be I would try to play them both, but I think Mitch Rob is the better play in the safety of minutes. I mean, Dwight Howard is always going to be volatile. It's not like he's ever going to be a guaranteed like smash, because he can get ejected like in the first quarter. Like he's just a little weirdo on the court. Right. I think I would have Mitch Rob slightly ahead of Howard. Yeah. And
would you try to get up? I guess he's a lot more expensive, but I'm looking at Aldridge as another one.
Yeah, see, those are the three guys I would be trying to rotate in, and I do think using the center as a viable utility.
Total too, right?
Yeah, I don't think Howard is. Yeah, in total, I don't think Howard's going to be that owned because of all this stuff.
Right.
So he actually maybe makes for the better tournament play of the group, but you probably, if you're playing him, would want to play him with Mitch Rob, because I don't know how often he necessarily outscores him, but playing those two together and skipping the other good value at the higher guys. I mean, you can find the excuse for Podol. I love, like, Podol makes 5,800, makes perfect sense. I have him early in the day projected at 50% ownership. I don't think that's necessarily crazy. The thing is, though, it's a back-to-back. It's not a good matchup. And if he puts up only 30 and Dwight Howard and Mitch Rob both put up 22, you're probably ahead. And they can also put up 30. So I think I would lean that route. That's my first initial way of looking at this build, is I would try to get both those guys in at center, try to play the 9K guys and skip the 10K plus players. And I think you'll be a little bit different just in doing that alone.
Yeah, I'll tell you, based on everything that we've said here, and I'm looking at early ownerships or whatever it is, but I think that the best play, given that's a 3-game slate that was discussed in this whole last half hour, was the one you just said like 5 minutes ago, and that might be Westbrook. I'm looking like an aggregated projection of him like under 40 points.
Right.
And okay, whatever, but I at 6% ownership, which is where I have him right now, on a 3-game slate, I think I'm just going to be forced to try it. Like it's a late game, I don't know what that really means, but I think it'd be kind of cool to have like a 0% owned Now I'm already from 6 to 3 down to 0. Like a 0% on Westbrook. Especially if maybe Harden and Luka don't exactly knock the cover off the ball in the first game.
Right.
I don't know. It could be kind of fun.
Yep. I like that idea. I mean, I like the idea. I do think it's for longer shot tournaments because it does feel thin when I look at the guys he has to outscore and the situation that he has versus what they have, and his numbers with LeBron and without LeBron and all that stuff. I mean, without LeBron, he goes nuts. With LeBron.
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, if you're gonna like Schroeder, I mean that they're both of those players like prefer really higher paced games. So I think those two together could be really, really strong.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't do it with the way that I was trying to do the 9K things, but I do like it. And I said earlier that I might have Schroeder in like almost 100%. I don't know that I need to on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, he will be in 100% of my lineups without a doubt, Schroeder. On DraftKings, I still think you can, but
what's his price over on DraftKings, on FanDuel?
Well, it's more importantly the position eligibility.
Oh, because he can play shooting guard over there?
Yeah, if you play point guards, like you can't play Schroeder. If you can't play Schroeder and if I play Schroeder and Murray, then all my guard spots, my point guard spots are locked up, and I like some of the other point guards. But I really do like Schroeder here, so I might have to prioritize it and do that. But his price on FanDuel, I believe, is somewhere in the 5,700, I think. And he plays, shooting guard and point guard. So also the most point guard. Everybody has. It's the exact opposite of every other year we play DFS. Everybody has more position eligibility on FanDuel than
FanDuel. Yeah.
And they actually do a good job of it, of actually picking the positions they play rather than DraftKings, who just sort of arbitrarily calls Luka a shooting guard sometimes, which makes no sense because he's a point guard or small forward or power forward or something. He's not like right. LeBron last year made sense when DraftKings did it, where they had LeBron at point guard and power forward only eligible. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, yeah, it's a little 3-game slate, but there's certainly they're all interesting games. I think
I got a guy for you. Right. I don't know if anybody was out for this game, but James Johnson's been playing over 20 minutes almost every game for the Nets.
Yeah, they're doing it a lot depending on matchups. Is the way they're using him. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that is actually I kind of find that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's I didn't dig into it. Maybe guys were out when he was getting those minutes, but I'm not sure.
No, they weren't really. They changed their rotation, and he's been pretty consistently. I like that call. I like the James Rod. This is the James Johnson. This is the kind of slate where I think that's the kind of play that you can do something with, because you don't necessarily need him to go crazy. He's going to get some run no matter what. It's not like Dallas is a good matchup. I like him against the teams where they're going to play up in pace or something, and Aldridge gets run off the court kind of a thing. That's why he gets in. But the truth is, if you look at the game log, it's pretty consistent that he's at least getting a chance to play some minutes here.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, if Aldridge is going to be really chalky, I mean,
yeah, it's a good pivot off of it. I like it. I like that. I'm going to put him on my list.
There's a lot of these kind of fishy sub 4K guys that, you know what I mean? Like Lonnie Walker's kind of fishy.
Yep.
Dwight Howard's fine. Josh Richardson again is showing up as a fishy but playable play.
Yeah, that's actually probably viable. Those are all guys who are viable on these kind of slates, I would say, because you don't need the same crazy ceiling as usual, and they're just anybody at low ownership. What is James Johnson projecting to have what is his minutes projection? Let me see what I've got.
I have him at 20 minutes.
Yeah, that seems right, but we know there's upside on that, so that's actually really an interesting play. I might get some of that James. I think I'm into that idea sheets.
All right, well, we'll definitely do a little more research into it for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been watching their games, so I feel pretty tapped in on what they're doing, and I for some reason thought his price was raised a little bit to near 4K, but that's a pretty good value. I'll take that shot for sure.
Yeah. There was one other guy I mentioned. Again, just dumpster diving these 4Ks, but you know what? It's a short slate. We have time, so we could just look around a little bit. So here's another guy, 3,300. If you want another guy who's who could get 0 minutes, but maybe they're shopping him around to trade him. I don't know. You think they maybe give Thad Young some extra minutes today for some reason? I mean, he's another 3K guy that I mean, he really hasn't been in a game at all recently. I don't know. I'm just throwing.
No, I think these are the kind of guys that can occasionally win you a slate like this, and I don't know. I mean, he put most of his minutes were coming when Podol was out or something was out, but it's it is a team that plays multiple bigs-ish. Yeah, it's not the worst idea. I think I prefer the James Johnson thing.
Okay.
But I think that's interesting. I mean, like there is some things out there. Like my build is going to be to, like I said, to keep those 9, try and get some combination of Schroeder, Murray, Tatum, Randall, and then spend down with like guys like Mitch Robb and Dwight Howard. And then we're gonna have to see how it goes. And then are you going to be available at 6:30 today?
At 6:30, I will be available, and then we have their 8. So yes, I will be.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll hopefully be able to brush up a little bit on this at 6:30.
Yeah, it'll be a short one at 6:30 though, I think.
Yeah. I think unless we have any, even with crazy news, but it's only 3 games, so not a whole lot to talk about.
You'll see. No. You'll see what'll happen. We'll at about 9, just after the 8:30 game locks, like Horford will be ruled out and Cantor will be like a smash.
Yeah, and then LeBron and Jason Tatum end up getting ruled out for COVID late or something like that again. Something weird. We see it every day now.
See Keenan Allen got ruled out for COVID?
Yeah, man. 11 NFL players yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep happening. But we move forward. Anyway, guys, good luck to everybody out there, and we will see you at 6:30.
All right, see you then.